Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday, the 2nd of August, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the local share market fell 2.1% today, closing at 7,943 points. It was the worst one-day fall in 16 months. That's after hitting a new high yesterday. A fall in Wall Street triggered the sell-off. More of that in a moment. Financials and energy stocks were sold off, as were the big miners, and property stocks didn't do very well either. In fact, more than 90% of stocks ended lower today. Some of the biggest falls came from the big 4 banks, with Commonwealth Bank and National Australia Bank leading the way. Goodman Group, Wesfarmers, Aristocrat Leisure, WiseTech Global, REA and QBE all tumbled. The uranium miners were among the worst though. Mind you, Domino's gave the uranium miners a run for their money. Domino's ended up 9% lower. The gold companies were the best performers. That flight to quality idea, though overall, the top of the pops today, at least of the ASX 200, was Square, the owner of Afterpay. After a strong earnings result on Wall Street overnight, it finished up 5%. The Aussie dollar starts the weekend buying just over 65 US cents. Story number 2, Wall Street tumbled overnight with the S&P 500 falling 1.4% and the tech-heavy Nasdaq closing down 2.3%. It was the macro outlook, as much as earnings from Apple and Amazon, that sent markets lower. Initial jobless claims in the US rose at the fastest rate in a year, while a key manufacturing activity fell further into contractionary territory and to a level that's previously signalled a recession is coming. It seems that investors, euphoric about the potential for lower interest rates, suddenly realised lower interest rates means a slowdown in the economy is on the way. In one session, talk turned from whether the Fed will cut rates to how far behind is the Fed in cutting rates. That flowed through to Australia. You can't say the markets aren't fickle. Story number 3, sleep apnea group ResMed said revenues jumped 9% during the June quarter, as expected, as a medical device maker sold more breathing devices, masks and software. And Chief Executive Mick Farrell said rather than the new generation of weight loss drugs being bad for ResMed, they could end up being a boon. 12 months ago, ResMed was sold off on speculation that weight loss drugs, such as Ozempic, would lessen demand for sleep apnea treatments. But today, Mr. Farrell said the new drugs were a catalyst for more people to engage with the health system, triggering a business opportunity for ResMed. Now, ResMed's listed in the US and Australia. Mr. Farrell said the fourth quarter and full year fiscal 2024 results demonstrate a strong performance across all sectors of the business. Its share price initially jumped, but as the market fell, so did it. It finished the day down 2%. Story number 4, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has dismissed calls to create a dedicated building watchdog following concessions from the Fair Work Commission that it lacks jurisdictional power to investigate criminal allegations involving the CFMEU. The Master Builders Association has called for a new industry regulator with broad powers to enforce civil and criminal law to clean up the sector. It comes after the Australian Financial Review revealed that the Fair Work Commission doesn't have sufficient jurisdictional powers to properly investigate allegations of criminality. But Mr Albanese today cited the failings of the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which was abolished in 2023, to reject the calls from the industry for it to be re-established. He said, while the ABCC existed, CFMEU power brokers were extending their influence, so therefore it didn't work. When asked whether there's a need to have a powerful regulator with the ability to investigate criminality, the Prime Minister said police have powers to investigate criminality. There you go. And story number 5, a number of airlines have cancelled flights to Israel amid rising tensions in the Middle East in the aftermath of the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Mr. Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran on Wednesday, intensifying fears that the conflict in the Middle East could escalate beyond its current borders. Cancelled airlines include Air India, United Airlines and Delta from the US, and the Lufthansa Group, which includes Swiss Airlines. At this stage, according to The Australian, Emirates and Qantas still have flights departing to Israel from Australia. Earlier today, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese once again warned Australians in Lebanon to leave the country following the killing of a top Hezbollah commander earlier in the week. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 2nd of August, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Weekend Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.